All right, welcome to the 1888 Building Advisory Committee meeting for Friday, November 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Certain meetings normally held at the municipal offices are being held remotely with adequate alternative means of public access and where required public participation provided in accordance with House Bill number 62 of the 194th General Court, which extended the governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20 until June 30th, 2027. Meetings are typically broadcast on Frontier Community Access Television, FCAT, and are available on YouTube. So the first agenda item here is just to go over the minutes of October 3rd, 2025. Everyone have a chance to take a look at those?
Yeah. We accept the meetings of October 3rd.
Okay.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't have anybody here, but that's.
Yeah. And then next item is just construction updates and budget updates. So Rob, I'll turn it over to you. I think you have an agenda, or excuse me, a budget update.
Sure. I'll do an update on progress first, if you don't mind. I'm going to share, I just need permission. I'm going to share just a handful of photographs just to, so that they can say more than I can. Let's see. Here we go. Thank you. So these are actually as of this morning. So these are fresh. So lots happened. In general, we've been, the guys have been working since last month, the one prior to that, on the existing building interior in terms of, wrapping up the finer demo details, primarily working on structural reinforcements, stair framing. We have been framing new walls for some time now, especially on the second floor. That too is now underway on the first floor. We've got some, new structural bits that we'll talk about in a minute. Things that we've had to change, things we've had to add. So they're starting to really get some traction inside now that most of this, structural items are kind of clearing up, say. In terms of the addition, we have just recently poured the slab for that building. What you're looking at right here is the corner of the new entrance. So this kind of stone and steel mesh you see right here, that's going to be the entrance canopy. That's formed up, ready to be poured. And you see all the blanketing there. That's covering the new slab, which is, they're using the blanket for heat protection. This is a view from the second story looking down. Kind of ugly, but you get a sense of the footprint, sort of. Looking down at it. So here's your elevator pit that's formed, poured. Here's that entrance canopy that is all formed up now. So you get a sense of kind of the geometry of the addition here. It's a good angle from the second story. So moving away, getting through concrete related items pretty soon here. Here's the connector piece. So this is the connector that ties in the new addition to the old. This was a recently modified detail here that we worked through. This was done just yesterday. Looks like they've got one more pour here for those piers to tie in the old building. And moving into the interior, these are really in no particular order. I'm going to skip that one just because it's hard to tell. So we've got stair construction going on between first and second floor. This is a whole new stairwell. This is a better angle. So this is from the second story. I believe this is from the church side of the building, looking like what would be the break room, I believe, looking down towards Treasury and clerk's office way back this way. That stairwell I referenced, unless I'm turned around.
I think you're right there.
Yeah. And so you can see the whole ceiling is now drywalled, sealed up. The guys will soon be working on kind of, rough wiring for all the new walls. Rough mechanical should be starting fairly soon. I don't know exactly what room this is, but it just gives you a general sense of, the framing. All fire protection lines are ongoing for the sprinkler heads. Good progress there. Again, a kind of a reverse shot from the second floor looking back towards break room area. And then I haven't mentioned, but this is a shot of the basement. We've had to do a few changes in the basement in terms of existing conditions, some changes we'll talk about. This is a trench work for some new, I believe it's sanitary line that they're trenching in here. But we had to do a little extra demolition down there in terms of what we thought was a slab, ended up being a whole bunch of asphalt down there in what will be the new mechanical space. So we paid some extra money to have the kind of crumbly asphalt base removed so that we can pour a new topping slab down there. This is two in the basement. So these are the two footing foundations for what will be the new Clerk's vault system. So that whole structural system from the first floor comes down and new footings were down there in the basement. So they're prepping for that. Here's that new stair I mentioned. So framed, there's a better shot. So this is first floor, new stairwell, new columns that we had to add. We took down this wall. I think we may have talked about this last meeting, but when they demoed this section of the first floor, it was immediately clear that some structural columns had been removed in prior years. No one knows when, but so we had to add new structural columns, which they're in the middle of doing right now. You can see new reinforcements up here with the new columns. This is the old stairwell that we're filling in, but new columns. So but this is a pretty good angle. A lot of the subfloor was in rough shape. So this is a whole bunch of area of new plywood subfloor. And then just that stairwell from second floor looking down towards the second floor landing. So door frames, this, metal door frames are in here, putting those in when they're ready. But overall, pretty good process inside. We've definitely had to take some extra time to face some unforeseen conditions, which we know we talked about a few at the last meeting. We came across a fair amount of additional items that needed to be done. But I think I've been saying it for a while, but I think we're finally moving out of the cloudiness in terms of existing conditions and just a lot of gremlins and things that we found that needed to be addressed. So KRA and their team have been working as hard as they can to address these as quick as they can. We think we're about through it. Got a couple more things to do and address now. Like I said, the columns were an added thing. They're working on that now. But we like what we see. The quality of the work is pretty good. We like, they seem to be forward thinking in terms of, what's coming down the line and getting RFIs submitted. So, but in terms of progress, we're a little behind schedule on a few things, on schedule in terms of the addition. We have not faced any change orders where the contractors ask for additional time or extra general conditions. So that's a good thing. But overall, we feel pretty good about where we are.
How far away are they from spraying the brick walls?
For the from the interior? For the
Yes.
spray foam, Tim?
Yeah,
I
several weeks.
would think, yeah, at least a few weeks. They still have to do a whole bunch of rough wiring. They've got to put all the receptacle locations, data box locations. So I think I have the schedule in front of me, which is like 13 pages long, but I can get that answer for you in a minute or two if I can scroll through this. But I think we're a few weeks away from that at least.
No worries.
But if all goes well, based on their schedule, which they're on par for the new edition, framing they'll start to go vertical fairly soon, but the roof on that building should be sheathed by, looks like January. That whole thing will be framed and roofed.
Great.
Asphalt roof?
Yeah, I think asphalt.
Is it an asphalt roof?
On the new building? It's a standing seam metal roof, correct? Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can do that in our winter.
Hmm.
Any questions? I'm looking for that spray foam.
Oh, well, sorry I asked. I can move right into budget or,
Yeah, that would be great, Rob.
yeah, okay. Let me see here. So my updated budget does show, some additional costs related to KRA, which I guess we'll circle back from, unless Chris, you want to talk about that first, or I can show the budget now and we can come back to KRA's
You can
item.
go ahead and show the budget, and yeah, we'll have the conversation about the additional fee for KRA in a moment.
Okay. Because I'm just showing that as, you know, kind of already in here just for the sake of conversation here, trying to scroll here. So we'll circle back to the adjustments related to KRA, but the primary ones that we discuss on a month-to-month basis right here is change orders. So to date, we have 127,000 and change of change orders. Just about all of them related to unforeseen conditions, structural components, underground foundation modifications based on existing findings with the original building. We haven't had any other cost adjustments, down in miscellaneous here. We're tracking expenditures for independent material testing here. So far we've spent $4,900 for allied testing to come out and test soils, compaction rates, concrete testing. All the concrete gets tested, and whether it's for a footing, foundation, slab, interior concrete, which will soon be coming, all that gets tested to make sure there's proper air containment and moisture content, all that stuff. So far, so good. All those tests so far have come back within spec. Same goes for soils. We haven't had any other expenditures. I think we're all wrapped up on hazmat. We haven't had any expenditures for geotech, which we might, but if we do, it'll be very minor if they, need to come out and do a field inspection, but I think we're past that point. But in summary, here's that approved change order line, which we've deducted from contingency and bid savings. So as of today, we have $1,437,624 in construction contingency, with a total uncommitted balance, uncommitted funds of $1,703,007. So uncommitted being all these line items that we haven't signed a PO for. We don't have any commitments to any of these line items here, at least that have zeros in them. So. Good.
Rob, why
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask why, so it says there's the total current budget and then the committed amount appears to be the same. Is that an error?
Forgive me. Nope, I call it post-bid budget.
Okay.
So my original budget and my post-bid budget, we always want to make sure they balance out. So this was the original before we went to bid. These are all the adjustments since then, and they still always want to equal your original budget. So it's just all the additional cost compared to the adjustments and contingency should always equal the 8.7. Doesn't mean that's what we were spent. It's just that's your total budget. It includes all your contingencies, all budget line items in here. On the far right is committed. So these are everything we have under contract, or intended to spend. So that's $7,021,992. Sorry about that.
So that 1.4 million. We've already taken out the approved change orders from that,
Yep.
but I'm just making sure I understand what you said. All this stuff that has the zeros in the right-hand column also has to come out of the 1.4 million or not?
Nope, that's separate. So 1.4 is your construction contingency
for stuff
balance.
that's not.
Yep.
Okay. Are there any change orders out there that you're still processing?
Yeah, I can put up the log. So this is the log. We've got 2 pending right now. These 2 right here, remove additional plaster that is along the stairwell, which I showed you in the photos. That stairwell had a good section of existing plaster that was going to remain. That's what the ETR is, existing to remain. But after they started demo and working in that area, it was pretty crumbly. It was pretty obvious that it just shouldn't remain. It just wasn't in the shape we thought it was. So that's a pending change to replace all that plaster with new drywall. So that's still in review. And then this one here, we had to, $23,022 was to add the columns, which they evidently have already started working on without this technical approval. They're just trying to keep moving on the schedule. Those posts that were on the first floor, there's 6 new posts and some structural reinforcements related to the missing columns that we discovered when the walls came down. So those 2 are in review. I show
How
a
much of
couple.
a compromise is it gonna be with 6 posts that were unanticipated in that space?
Say again, Vern, sorry.
How much of a compromise is it gonna be design-wise for 6 posts that weren't anticipated?
Well, I'll let Tom speak to it, but we actually, not much in terms of impacting floor space. We could put up a plan if you'd like, Vern, but yeah, Tom, I'll let you speak to that, but I don't think we had much at all.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Not much.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were able to just, we thought a column was here. We were able to move it about 3 feet into a planned wall. So we have a whole series of walls running perpendicular to that beam that needs support. So we were able to just shuffle the columns kind of down the line. So luckily, not big impacts to the plan.
Terrific. Thank you.
That's it for me.
Great.
Just one quick-
Any questions from committee members on budget?
I go back and look at the budget and the Quinn Rental stuff, like is it
Yes.
somewhere on it?
You want me to put the budget back up? Is that what I heard?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
that'd be great.
Just need to change the tab. There we go. So my budget here reflects a $55,000 increase in fees for KRA. Up for discussion, up for a vote, but I just wanted to have it in here in the budget just so we could all kind of see, where the bottom line is with that number plugged in.
Just,
60 in here. right?
yeah, and so
50 and 10.
I'll provide a little clarification. So initially, we talked about a $50,000 contract amendment for Kuhn Riddle, and that would include FF&E, but also just account for some unanticipated complexity of the project, given that we're dealing with the building.
Finding
from-
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was 50,000, and then additionally, there were some changes that needed to be made to the design of the elevator. So that was, the cost of that was 10,000, 5,000 for KRA's fee, and then 5,000 for the subcontractor's fee. At the end of the day, we're just gonna be covering KRA's fee for that, I believe, is how we worked it out.
Engineering fee.
Yeah, the engineering fee, yeah.
Right.
So that gives you the total of 55,000 between those 2 updated proposals.
Yeah, KRA agreed to forego their architectural fee, which I thought was very generous, and I'd like to ask Montford to do the same, and
We'll have that conversation with them,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
And just one thing that, in that $55,000, $15,000 is dedicated to furniture specification and procurement, helping the town out with that. And so that's not something that we're asking for additional fee to sort of compensate us for the project. The base project is just it's an additional service we're adding at the request of the town to do the FF&E spec. The additional $35,000 is to help compensate us for some of the overruns we've had design fee, working through the complexities of the project. It's basically, it's 2 projects. It's a full renovation of a historic building and a new building added onto it. And it's just been, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of time. It's a great project, and the whole team's been fantastic. And we were just looking for a little extra to help us compensate us for the time we spent in the design phase as well. And then also, the construction administration phase is intense, and Rosie and Tom have been on it. And they're doing a great job, and we're going to continue to see this through to the end. But just to help us through the hump, over the hump a little bit.
So for purpose of discussion, I'll make a motion to recommend the committee, move the committee recommend to the Deerfield Select Board the execution of a contract amendment with Kuhn Riddle Architects in the amount of $55,000.
Okay.
Okay, so moved and seconded, but let's have discussion about your thoughts on this.
I have a couple of process questions.
Sure.
So, and I should know the answer to this, but was this when we hired them, was it a fixed price bid for the project, or was it
You mean when we got,
RFQ when we first
got
hired
Kuhn Riddle?
Kuhn Riddle?
yeah, it's an RFQ.
Okay,
So, really price shouldn't come into it. You
Okay.
select based on
Based on
qualifications.
qualification.
Yeah,
and then we had the contract with them to do the original.
right. We had the
Drawings.
original, I think about 125,000 to bring it up to the point where we were ready to present it to town meeting. We presented it to town meeting and then got approval for the full project, and then contracted with them for the additional 500,000 at that point.
Okay, so that 125 is in here too, right?
Correct,
That's
yeah.
624.7 includes the
Yes.
original whatever.
Yes.
Okay. And so then out of that, the estimate for the project was 7.2 million. So that's like 8%, 8.67%. It seems low, honestly. And it seems like a low percentage for what the architect usually
Yeah,
charges,
and
or not.
we had a discussion about essentially had two different architects, and we
Mhm,
wanted to get this is the price for the project.
right,
So yes, fixed price. And we also said that cost, when they started discussing, we said, well, look, if the cost goes up, if it's the same amount of work,
right,
we're not gonna pay you extra for increases. It turns out the cost was
Cost
lower than
down,
we thought,
yeah,
but now we're talking about the amount of work that Kuhn Riddle's done, and whether it's, we want them to be well compensated for doing a good job, so this is.
right,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
which they are, and.
Yeah.
So this takes them up to 11.2% of the current contractor
Right.
cost, but,
7.2 estimate, where does the percentage come in? Is it like?
oh, over
7.9?
7.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the budget's not up anymore, I didn't write the number down. So. Oh, wait, I can.
What, can I just say one thing? What's interesting is that the DD estimate came in at $7.2 million, which is what we based the project budget on. And then the bid spread went from Mountford's 5.99 to a high bid of 8.2, and there were 10 bids which came in, and when you average out the spread, it came in at $7.13 million. So the average of all the bids came in just about right where our DD $7.2 million cost estimate came in. And what's great about Mountford is that because they came in so low, is you have this just generous contingency that to help us through a lot of these unforeseen conditions. And so I think I'm hoping I think the town's in a really good position to see this project through and maintain the budget and still get an exceptional project out of it all.
Hey, Rob, can you throw the budget back up one more time?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, here we go.
for 679.76. Divided by 720.
9%, 9.4%.
Yeah,
I'm actually saying this, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you're dealing with an old building like this too, it's, I think
There's
it's
a lot of
completely in
stuff
line,
we
there's a
find,
lot of
yeah.
work it takes and a lot of surprises.
Yeah.
I think that's right in
I think
line,
it's very reasonable.
considering the new building is a smaller part of the project.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that discussion moved and seconded. If there's no other discussion, take a roll call vote. Vern Harrington,
Aye.
Lee Chalfant.
Aye.
Tim Elchi, aye. All right. Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, and then I think, I don't think there's any other updates unless Rob or Tom or Charles, you got something?
One thing that I
I
wanted
have
to
nothing
ask,
more.
one thing I wanted to ask in light of what happened at the library. I don't know that we had in the spec, key fob entry and so forth. So is that something that's in the spec, or if it isn't, should we ask Kuhn Riddle to?
So it's funny you mention it. So Tom and Rob and I were gonna hang around after this
Oh, okay.
meeting concludes to talk about door hardware.
Okay, good.
Sarah and a couple other staff members are gonna come by too, so we'll talk through that. We do have Rick Gore with Lee Audio, who does the pops for this building, for the library. He's gonna be working on that as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much Kuhn Riddle would have to do it, or Lee would, or some other contractor would actually do that. So good, I'm glad you're looking into it, because sort of a surprise at the end of the day, how we're getting into the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have, we can have an ADA compliant door system in the entryway.
Oh, the button.
Yeah.
Tom, can you remind me? I assume we have that for the.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
And Tim, just to give you one answer now, what we expect is for there to be key fob entry to that main entrance. But we're trying not to do key fob entry elsewhere in the building, just to lower cost and complexity. But we want to make sure that we offer, the security that's necessary in this building. It's open to the public, there's money, there's important records. So security is important. Ease of access for staff is important. We can do it all. We just need to make sure we get the right hardware on the right doors. So that's what we're about to discuss.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else from anyone? All right, so our next meeting is gonna be December 12th. Tom, remind me, are we moving back to bi-weekly construction meetings? Is that the plan? Some point soon?
I'll kick that over to Rob. That would be my request, that we continue weekly through November, and in December we go back to bi-weekly. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think it depends on site progress, volume of questions. I think at bare minimum, we could do, alternating between in-person and Zoom. Maybe it's a alternate between those two, still meet weekly, but I'm open to that for sure. I think it's just gonna have to depend on how things stand come next month. But yeah, I think we can throttle back once we get through it. Yeah.
Even this week, the contractor reached out to us to cancel this week's meeting, just saying it seemed more productive for him to keep moving on site.
Yeah.
And for us to talk about paperwork we already had in our hands.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay.
Great.
You want to have a motion to adjourn?
I'll take motion. Second, right? All those in favor? Unanimous.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Keep the Zoom
Thanks.
up for Tom and Rob. I'm just gonna grab some other folks from our